This episode is sponsored by Proverbs 31 Business Systems. Are you tired of feeling like your business depends on you for everything? If your business slows down every time you step away, you may be the bottleneck. At Proverbs 31 Business Systems, we help faith-driven, service-based entrepreneurs build systems, workflows, and automation that allow their businesses to run without burnout. Take the 5-minute bottleneck test to discover what's really slowing your business down and what to fix first. Simply scan the QR code shown on the screen or visit proverbs31businesssystems.com. Now let's get into today's episode.
More than gold. She doesn't.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Becoming the Proverbs 31 Woman podcast. My name is Shoma Kende, your host, also known as Special Agent Chi, and on today's show we have Amy Thornton Shankland. She is an author of Happy and Solo at Church Light, Your Fire and Worship with Joy. She's also a seasoned grant professional, newspaper columnist, former Dale Carnegie Instructor, and a frequent grant professional associate speaker. Through her writing and message, Amy helps people who attend church alone move from merely showing up to building and meaningful relationships and finding and belonging and worshiping with joy. Welcome to the show, Amy. Welcome.
Thank you, Chi.
Thanks for coming on the show. So, Amy, can you describe what you do in one sentence?
Yes. Well, my current mission is to help solo people go to church because they want to, not just because they have to.
I like that. I like that. So, how would you say, in terms of like, when did you first sense this calling to do this? What made you get started on this?
Well, I was walking my dogs in January of 2024 and thinking about how my life had changed the 3.5 years previously, about how much I loved going to church versus years ago when I was just kind of a miserable lump sitting there and I just kind of went when I could. And my joy about it. And I thought, gosh, somebody should write a book to help solo people feel that joy, to give them tips and hope that they don't have to be sad. And not all of us are, but they don't have to feel sad and alone, that they can do things to really feel great going to church and beyond. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm an author. I can do that. So that's how it started.
Oh, wow. So were you like a solo, is that like from a personal story that you said you used to be that and now you just wanted to start helping people?
Yes, it is. I have pretty much been solo at church my whole adult life, pretty much from college on.
So has that, you said, has that been, so just in terms of like for your boys, so how did that, I guess, in terms of just for your boys going to church, like how did you navigate that with family and stuff, like in doing that?
It was not easy, especially when they're little. I'm sure a lot of your listeners, your viewers, it's tough taking little ones to church. And so that in itself was a struggle in those early years. We did have a nursery, but they only watched kids up until age 3. And 3-year-olds, they're not the best in church. And so that was quite a struggle. Now, my husband and I did balance later on when they had religious education. We did take turns taking them there, dropping them off, etc. And then it did get more challenging because I'm Catholic. And so when it was time for sacraments like First Communion and confirmation, that was all me. And so, yeah, it was challenging. And of course, I was working at the time, just like a lot of us, balancing all kinds of things. And so I have to say, back then, I probably just kind of did the bare minimum to get them through.
In terms of that, okay. So you talk about finding and building relationship with God friends. Like, what is a God friend, and how does, people begin like, forming those relationships?
Well, I call God friends anybody that has the faith in the Lord, and most of them are Christian. So when I find out somebody has faith, and they embrace their Christianity, I am all over that. And so I'm like, oh, now you're my God friend. So it doesn't even have to be in your church. It can just be people outside of your church. And once you have that connection, you'll find people are so eager to talk and share about their faith. But then in your church, of course, you have your God friends. And actually, I prefer to call them my church family. Um, you see these people probably more than a lot of your friends, right? Once a week or more. And so they've become my church family, my God friends, and I've built those relationships, and others can do the same by experiences, whether it's volunteering or, for example, I went to Italy last fall on a pilgrimage, and now I have 48 new church family members slash God friends, and we get
Wow.
together now for reunions, and it's a blast. So I would say the best thing is experiences, spending that time, whether it's a lunch here and there with a God friend or something even deeper and longer.
Okay, so you said, so what role can I guess mentors and like small groups, can you say, and trusted like church relationship play in supporting like their children?
Oh yeah, that's huge. So as far as mentorships and things like that, what helped me and what I see helping others is when you connect with others in your situation. And I did. I'm very blessed. I connected with another woman who also had two young boys. This was 20 plus years ago. I said, "Hey, you're here at church with your boys. I'm here at church with my boys. Let's sit together." And that formed a friendship. Our boys became friends. And so I want to say Karen and I kind of mentored each other and encouraged each other. And that's definitely what you need when you can find people in those other situations. You can mentor each other and guide each other. And that's been huge. And I recommend to people, one of the tips in the book is find others in your situation.
Yes. Okay, so you mentioned you encourage people to stop making church a once a week activity. What does that look like in practical terms?
Yeah. So many of us, me included, until 2020, so many of us go to church and we get there right when it's going to start. We don't get there early. Go to church, and then afterwards we do the parking lot boogie. We get out there and get in that car and away we go. And that's it. We don't go back until the following week. And there's so many things in so many churches you can do. So it's not just a once a week thing. Different things like, and this is some obvious things, Bible studies,
Hmm.
volunteering, different ministries we can do. Um, it's just you're really living more as a Christian, as a child of God when you're stepping outside that once a week experience and just doing something outside of that. And I know a lot of your viewers and listeners are thinking, "Hey, I'm busy enough." But you can do something once a month. We have something called monthly grace meals at our church, and you can go on a Saturday morning for 2 hours and just deliver meals. Something as simple as that, taking it beyond that Sunday experience. And you'll have so much joy in doing these things. You'll learn a lot, you'll serve others, and you'll build that church family and make those God friends.
I agree. That once a week, God, going to church Sunday to Sunday, you have to also have it the rest of the 6 days in terms of relationship with God. I love how you said you have the Bible study in terms of in just diving in because the word is important. Because I know it's Sunday, it's kind of you don't have, excuse me, you don't have the on Sunday to ask the questions like you would like in a Bible study to get deeper in the word that way. So I agree. It's just in terms of learning and just getting deeper into that word is, and I feel like it's also building a community as well. Because I want I recently, the church that I go to, we recently just finished like a 6 week, just going into the book of the letters of the letters to the church. I think is what we did for like 7 weeks. That thing was, even though, had to do other things, but it was in the evening. It was nice coming and just seeing, and you're seeing other people's views. The seven letters to the church was like kind of relevant to what's going on in the churches today, by the way.
Mhm.
But it was just interesting to just come and just see people's perspective of things and just building that community. So I agree. Just the Sunday, yes, it's good, coming to church on Sunday, but the rest of the week, you need to be in and building that during the week. So I like that. So what can someone who, what are some simple steps that listeners can take in just weeks in attending church to truly engage in church life? So I think we kind of talked about that with any additional like things that they could do besides
Oh, yes, 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 yes. So when I talk to people, I tell them to think about five things to do as a solo person. Number one, strengthen your foundation. We just talked about that. Bible study, read podcasts, podcasts, talk with your pastor. We had our priest over a couple of years ago for dinner. It was awesome. We were there for 3 hours. We were just chatting on our deck. We had such a good time. Retreats, attend talks at your church. If you can do what I did, I know it's a once in a lifetime thing for a lot of people, like probably going to be for me. Do a pilgrimage. Strengthen that foundation. That's like the crucial first step in my mind. I feel like a baby in my faith. I'm 55 years old, Chi, and I just feel like now I'm finally really learning about my faith. So that's number one. Number two, I mentioned earlier, is go to church with others in your situation. That's so helpful. And by the way, they're easy to find. We all have that looking around church and look at the solo people around you. Number two, if you're in the situation that I'm in, where you're not really alone, you have your kids, but yeah, you are alone. You're the only adult. Make sure if you have your partner to get support. Seek it and request it. I've been very lucky. I didn't have to really ask for it. I've just had it all along. But it's so essential to have their support. If they're not going to be with you at church, they've got to support you outside of it. It's very
Mm.
crucial. Number four, we talked about this too. Find and meet with your God friends. Oh, so helpful. So helpful. When my best friend stopped going to the Catholic Church, I just was sad. I love her, I always will, but it made me so sad. And to have my other God friends to talk about and say, I'm so sad this happened. It was wonderful. It really helped me. And then the final thing is create your church family, which we've talked a little bit about too. And ways you can do that is don't get there right before church starts. Get there early. Chat a little bit. Stay after. Chat a little bit. That's so easy. Volunteer where and when you can. Like I mentioned, it can be as simple as once a month or more. It just depends on where you are in your life. Do the fun stuff at church. Chi, I bet you have a lot of fun stuff you all have at church. And I'm late to this because I've been solo. I just was like, oh, my husband's not going to be there. I'm not going. And now I'm embracing all the fun things. We had a big festival just a few weeks ago at my church, and I went in and I had a ball. And then finally, like we talked about, stop making church just a Sunday or Saturday thing. You're going to be so much happier and you're going to grow in your faith. Your other question was, what surprised me? Was
Yes,
that your other
about writing a
question?
book.
My other surprise is somebody pointed out to me that yes, here's my book.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
there we go. Yes, Amy, happy and solo at church can help solo attendees. But they said, did you ever think about others who could read this? And then we know how to support solo people. That surprised me. I didn't even think about that. So a lot of people are reading it to do that.
Nice. That process. So with your book, so what is the name of your book called?
What is the name? Happy and Solo at Church. Light your fire and worship with joy.
Okay. Okay. So this is the Proverbs 31 Woman podcast, and I always ask all my guests, what is the one quality of the Proverbs 31 Woman quality that you most identify with and why?
I was looking at this thinking the last few days, and it's got to be courage for me. I used to pray for it. I used to say, God, I don't really think I'm that courageous. And then some things happened in my life where God gave the opportunity to be courageous. It was around my mother and her care years ago. And I think for me, it's required some courage to write this book. My story's in here and you have to be vulnerable. And I think that's a very important thing to do in life as an author and many other things. And so it's taken some courage to do this, to get out there, to do things that are not in my comfort zone. I'm not a social media person, but I've learned that you have to get out there, you have to be on there. Um, there's just been so many things, so many brick walls, let's say, that I've encountered. And God's been saying, you can do this. And so he's been giving me the courage to overcome these situations. And so, yeah, that prayer I think has been answered. So it's courage for sure.
Okay, okay, definitely. So what final encouragement would you give someone who attends church alone and longs for like a deeper connection, belonging, b belonging and joy? What was that one final encouragement you would give that person?
I would tell them to take some baby steps. It took me years to get to where I am. I did not overnight, have this church family and have all these friends and have all these things happen. It's taken years and I'm going to continue to do it. And so, yeah, just take that one step. Greet somebody you don't know that's also solo at church and talk with them. Go get some coffee or tea with somebody. Sign up to volunteer, even if it's just one time. Dip your toe in the water. And I bet you, once you take that baby step, you're going to find a lot of surprising things, and it's going to encourage you to take even bigger steps in the future.
Yes, good, good, good. So I love this. So how can people connect with you, Amy?
All right. Well, I think you're going to post different social media. Thank you for that. You're welcome to reach out to me on there, but I will tell you, I'm kind of old school. I'm an email girl. So email for me is my favorite, but hey, anything is fine. I would love to connect and chat with people. And like I said, I'm on a mission. I want solo people to go to church because they want to, not because they have to. And so let's talk, let's connect. I would love to speak more to more groups online, offline, whatever.
All
Seek me out.
right.
I'm here.
All right. I love that. And we will have all of Amy's information in the description of this episode. Thank you so much, Amy, for coming on the show and really do appreciate your insight, just in terms of just encouraging people, not just to make going to church a Sunday thing, but a week thing. And it's just, building that relationship in Christ. I really do appreciate you, just pushing that. So,
Thank you
folks.
for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, folks, if you have enjoyed content like this in discussion with Amy, please do me a favor and just hit subscribe so that way we can get more content like this. And if I know I see the views, so just please click the subscribe button so that way you can push the algorithm in this. So I appreciate everything for being on the show. And that's another episode of Becoming the Proverbs the Woman podcast. My name is Chama Kende, also known as Special Agent Chi. And until next time, stay blessed, everyone. Bye.